Hey, good morning. All right, so this is just a subject, okay? And the subject is fear, fear based societies, right? And how we have been a fear based society for forever, okay, as a whole, you know, as a whole, and you can look at it in a religious aspect or a societal, governmental aspect, as our whole, and if you, well, you can. And I, I don't really understand it now. I understand it, but for as long as history is written, we're a people of fear. You know, fear of the apocalypse, fear of the rapture, fear of nuclear war, fear of war, fear of your neighbor, fear of each other, you know. Anyway, fear of an alien invasion as of late. It's so. How long are we as a whole going to choose to be in fear? You know, how long? Whenever we can just choose to live our lives and be the best version of ourselves that we can be to each other as well as ourselves, and we get lost in the narrative of the world, the narrative of your local society as well as the larger whole, you know. Anyway, when I was young, I'm doing a bridesmaid dress right now. I'm taking it apart. So whenever I was young, we'd go to church when I was young, and people would live their lives, and their choices that they would make would be out of fear, okay, and for I don't even know how long, people were like, oh, the world's gonna end, oh, the world's gonna end, like little, like that chicken that said, oh, the sky's falling. But that's the reality, and I've watched elderlies, pass away, and that was their whole. They lived that whole life in fear, you know, and just I kind of think it's sad, I think it's sad as a whole, but I do believe that everyone's life would be better if they just lived in their moment, not how you think, but in what is going on in their existence, okay? Not what people are telling you, but what you see, right? What you see, you know. And for those that are fearful of everything else, know that we are easily manipulated. And I know that sounds horrible for me to say, but we are, we are. We take other people's words. And nowadays, with all this tech, you can't even trust your eyes anymore. You can't, unless it's in your physical life, so. And I don't know why people manipulate other people. I can't tell you that. It doesn't make sense to me why, people do. It doesn't make sense. And I don't know why people push certain narratives or anything like that. But I do know that it's a choice. It's a choice that if you want a more peaceful life, live in your life. living your life, living your own narrative, not anybody else's. Okay? And unless you see aliens coming out the sky, just hope for the best and put out the best. Okay? And if you're fearful about that, just be like, okay, well, if they're that advanced, they must be advanced enough to know that war and violence is not the way, okay? Because if they're evolved beings enough to travel great distances, they probably done evolved out of the war mentality, okay? Because they had to work together to get that far, right? Okay. So don't worry about that. Whatever will be, will be. Whatever will be, will be. Right? And that's okay. And if you're waiting on the rapture, honey, and you're trying to condemn other people because they don't believe how you believe and you think they're going to hell, you need to think on that, because your God, your source creator, is infinite being, okay? So its knowledge is infinite as well, right? And again, that infinite knowledge, that infinite wisdom, I don't believe it condemns in the way you think it condemns, okay? I just really don't. Now, it would be nice if a savior came to give some sense to people, give some sense and love to people, because really what it is, knowledge is giving sense to people, okay? And love is the greatest knowledge, right? Because if you love each other, you love everybody, and you're a very wise person, because you done overcome things that hold your mind back, okay? And it opens up your mind to seeing other possibilities. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with this, and I just want everybody to live in their own existence, right? And don't let fear creep in, okay? Because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. Whenever you're in fear, you make really bad decisions, and because you do, okay? And so being at peace with yourself and your existence is really important. It really is. And so try not to be fearful, because you get frozen. You get frozen in fear, and then you make these silly decisions out of fear that doesn't help you in the long run, okay? And it doesn't help our society either. So don't go along with people's narratives. Just don't, And if you think the world is coming to an end, I suggest you just go outside and enjoy the beauty that's out there, okay? Or go visit the people you love and see the beauty within them and enjoy it. Not how you think, but it'll definitely calm you down. And you'll be like, oh, it's still beautiful outside. Oh, there's still wonderful people in this world. Anyway. But, anyway, don't be fearful, because it doesn't help you. It doesn't. You won't think through things properly if you're in the stage of fear, right? You won't. And you'll make decisions that aren't in your best interest. And living in fear is no way to live a life, right? Because it's not. Anyway, this is just about, what all this is about. I don't exactly keep up with everything. I don't. Obviously, y'all know I don't. But I choose not to. But y'all know what this is about, and there's a lot of things that are being circulated that is just nonsense. It's just nonsense. And whatever will be because it's meant to be, and we are supposed to experience it, okay? Because we are, right? For the good or for the bad, we're supposed to experience it. And that is for our betterment, one way or the other, you know. So, don't be fearful, you know. Doesn't help you.